All right, so I want to show you what the different shifts are, transformations that we can do on our trig function. So I'm going to be working with y equals sine of x. That's what I currently have graphed. Now I want to point a few things out. You have two vertical green lines. Those are going to represent the beginning and end of one period. So right now, y equals sine of x has a period of 2 pi. The purple lines that are horizontal represent the max and mins. And then there's a blue dashed line right through the middle. That's going to be our midline. And we're going to see how each thing is affected by the various parameters. So I'm going to start just by moving the value of a. All right, so if I just move the value of a, what you will see is that the graph gets taller and shorter, and then taller and shorter again. When the a values are negative, you should notice that it's upside down from the way we normally see sine. When it's between 1 and -1, we have a really shallow one. It's been squished. And then when it's greater than 1, it's taller. All right, so I'm going to set that back to 1. Right, so then let's look at what happens when we change b. Now, b is used in calculating the period. So if I just change b, you'll notice it stretches out and then compacts back. So it gets really stretched when the value of b is between 0 and 1. When it's greater than 1 is when it gets really squished and you see more of them. In fact, the way I like to think of it, and I'm going to put this on 2 to make it real easy to see, is that the value of b actually tells you, if you haven't shifted left or right any, how many full periods you get between 0 and 2 pi. So if I look at this from 0, there's 1 period and there's a second period. So we got 2 full cycles. So b really tells you how many, which should make sense when we go down to a half, that between 0 and 2 pi, I am only seeing half of a cycle. So I'm going to set that back to 1. All right, so then let's look at h. H is inside the parentheses. So as we move h around, it's just going to slowly move left and right. All right, and so the last thing is k. So let me set h back to 0 so we can get that centered again. All right, and we'll go with moving k. So it moves up and down. All right, when it's plus k, it's going to go up. And when we get into a minus k, it's going to go down below. In fact, that value of k actually determines where that midline is. And then from the midline, we can calculate how far to get from the max to the min. Hopefully, you found this helpful. Let me get my graph somewhat back to where it belongs to see how the different transformations happen. And all of those things are exactly the same if we were to change this to a cosine. And just to show you that, I'm going to go ahead and let it cycle kind of through all of these, and you're going to see our graph kind of moving every which way. All right, but the point is, everything that happens with sine happens with cosine. And as I slowly take those off, getting down to just one thing moving, there you go. All right, I hope you found this helpful and have a wonderful